Hello everyone and welcome to Chapter 9, Creating a Culturally Responsive Community for Learning, Seeing the Environment as a Second Teacher. In today's lesson, we will explore how the classroom environment itself teach students beyond the lesson plan and curriculum. Students are constantly learning from the atmosphere, routine, relationship, and expectation we create. Hammond invites us that culturally responsive classroom is not only academically strong, but also emotional safe and socially supportive. As a future educator, this chapter is especially important because students cannot fully engage in the learning if they do not feel respected, valued, and safe. Today we will discuss how to intentionally design the classroom where all the students can be succeed in the learning. So this is a perfect chapter we are going to talk about and the perfect chapter to end this semester. Chapter Review. This chapter is a final practice area of the homework, ready for the rigor framework. It focuses on building a strong learning community where the students feel connected to the one another and to their teacher. The chapter emphasizes the three important types of the safety: social safety, emotional safety, and intellectual safety. The social safety means students feel accepted by the peer, by the classmate. Emotional safety means they feel respected and cared for. Intellectual safety means they can ask a question, they can make mistakes in the classroom, and they are willing to try the challenging task without fear of the embarrassment. Hammond explained that many dependent learners need this supportive environment before they can develop confidence and independence. Why community matter? Why does a community matter so much? Students learn best when they feel safe and connected. If students are anxious, isolated, or worried about the judgment or their mistake, their brain focus on the protection instead of learning. A strong classroom community increasing engagement because students feel they belong. Belonging motivated student participate, ask a question, and contribute their idea. Community also support risk-taking. Learning often requires trying something difficult, making mistake, or try again. Students will only do this when trust exists. Finally, community strengthens identity. When students feel seen and valued, they become more motivated learners. Now, in this slide, we are going to talk about environment as an essential teacher from the Hammond textbook. The phrase environment as a second teacher means the classroom space. Teach students every day, seeing the environment as a secondary teacher. So, in this specific textbook chapter, Homer intentionally used the phrase second teacher, likely to emphasize that the classroom environment as a powerful instructional role alongside the teacher, not decorated over the secondary. This is a Holman framing, not the classic Reggio Emilia terminology. In the Reggio Emilia education, the environment is often called the third teacher. However, the Holman used the phrase second teacher in chapter 9 to highlight how strongly the classroom environment shape learning, belonging, and the cognitive risk-taking. The classroom set out communicating the priority. For example, role facing the teacher may communicate control, while the cooperating setting may communicate partnership. Routine teach the student how learning happens. If routines are clear and consistent, students feel secure. Talk structure matter too. Who get to speak or who get to listen to. This pattern teaches students whose voice matter. The third one, exactly matter. What is on the wall? Do students see themselves represented? Is the room welcoming or organized? The environment scientifically teaches students whether they belong. Now let's talk about ethos and the artifact. Hammond made an important distinction between the artifact and the ethos. Artifacts are decorations, such as a poster, flag, book, or a multicultural display in your classroom. These can be positive, but they are not enough by themselves. Ethos refers to the spirit and the culture of the classroom. It is a feeling the student experiences when they enter to the classroom. Do they feel warmth, fairness, dignity, and respect, or do they feel threat or exclusion? A classroom can be beautiful, multicultural poster, but still lack the truly inclusive. Genuine cultural responsiveness comes from the caring relationship, higher expectation, and the emotional consistency. Now, let's talk about social and intellectual safety. Students need a classroom where they can think openly and participate without fear. Open inquiry means students feel comfortable asking questions even if they are unsure. A growth mindset means mistakes are viewed as a part of the learning, not sign of the failure. Respectful peer interaction means the students listen to one another and disagree constructively. Teacher responses are especially important. When a student struggles, the teacher should respond with patience and support rather than shame or frustration. When students feel socially and intellectually safe, they are more willing to attempt difficult tasks and grow academically. Now let's talk about how to support for the diverse learner. Different learners need a different form of support. For students of the color, culturally responsive teaching validate their identity and experience. For English learners, teachers should provide language support while still maintaining higher academic expectations. Some students may have interrupted confidence because of the past school failure or negative experiences. These students need encouragement and an opportunity to rebuild self-belief. Dependent learners often need scaffold independence. This means giving support at first, then gradually release responsibility so students can become independent thinkers. After we talk a lot how environment is so important for the student learning, but what can we do to help our students to succeed and how to create the better environment for the student to learn? So What can the teacher do in practice? The first one, the morning meeting or the daily check-in help build the relationship and allow the teacher to notice emotional need. Cooperative learning group help the student practice cooperation and the shared responses. And next one, the clear routine reduce anxiety because the student know what to expect. Predictable create emotional safety. Student voice opportunity are also very important. Let the student lead the discussion, make choices, and share ideas. Finally, use the inclusive visual and the material. Classroom book, poster, example, and the resources should reflect diverse cultures, family, language, and identity. Now let's discuss the teacher role. Teacher play the central role in creating community. First, trust must be built intentionally. Trust does not happen automatically. Students watch whether adults are consistent, fair, and caring. Second, teachers should notice student emotions. Sometimes behavior problems are signs of the stress or frustration. Third, model empathy. Students learn how to treat others by watching the teacher. Fourth, hold higher expectations while providing support. Caring without rigor is incomplete, and the rigor without care can feel harmful. Finally, move from the control to partnership. Students should feel they are learning with the teacher, not simply being managed. After reading this chapter, I want you to ask yourself the following question. This reflection question helps the teacher evaluate their classroom climate. Does my classroom feel safe to all the students, not just some students? What message does my room set out send? Does it communicate belonging, cooperation, and respect? Who participates most often and who stays silent in the classroom? Science may signal exclusion or discomfort. How do I respond when students struggle? Do I build confidence or unintentional create fear? Strong teachers regularly reflect and adjust their environment to better support learners. Connected to the future teacher, how to connect to your future classroom. As a future teacher, remember these key messages. Build belonging first. Students need connected before they can fully engage in the learning. However, relationships alone are not enough. Students also need challenges seeking opportunity and academically growth. Community and achievement should grow together. When students feel valued and supported, they are more likely to persist through the difficulty and become independent learners. Your future classroom should be a place where students feel both cared for and, uh, and intellectually challenged. The final slide is going to talk about the test tube. This slide reminds the student about the test tube. The exam includes 25 multiple choice questions worth 100 points total and account for the 10% of the final course grade. The test opened on the May 1st at 8 a.m. in the morning and closed on the May 8th at midnight. Students must complete the test before the deadline because the system closes automatically. The chapters on the test 2 cover are Chapter 5, Chapter 7, and Chapter 9. Please review your note, lecture video, and the textbook reading carefully. Remember, good preparation will help you succeed on the test.